Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Nick from Top Notch Sports, and today we're going to be going over my wide receiver 2021 NFL scouting. Listen, I scouted a lot of players, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of players. Every single player I scouted at the wide receiver position will be in this video, so it's going to be long. My goal is to have it less than 1 hour long. We're going to wait and see. Here's my goal for those of you not watching this when it premieres. I'm going to have timestamps in the description and in the comment section by April 21st. Today's the 20th, so we'll be coming out the 21st. So you can click on what receiver you want to hear me talk about, my rankings, etc., which will be at the very, very end of the video. At the end of the video, I'll be answering any questions that you may have for me to answer for you guys about this draft, especially about the wide receiver group. All right, I already went over my quarterbacks. I went over my running backs. Now's the wide receivers. And the thing about wide receivers is that there's a lot of them, right? A lot of them might be drafted, right? And we all know that there's a lot of guys that get drafted, in like the 4th, 5th, or 6th round of the NFL draft. And hey, this guy's pretty good. And hey, this guy's a potential starter. And hey, this guy might be the true number one receiver in the draft. So I did my thorough analysis. You can't knock me for not scouting somebody. Okay, if I didn't scout them, I can't tell you how good they are. So if there's anybody that I left out of this video, let me know who they are and I'll go and scout them. But here's the ranking of the 27 wide receivers that I did scout. Let's hop right into it now. All right, so here we go. You see 2021 wide receiver prospects. We're going to hop right into it. But first, before we even hop into this, I want to talk about this. You guys might say, Nick, what is the longest part of the entire scouting process? And yes, it does take a long time to scout these players and go through all that. But the two longest things are honestly making these damn PowerPoints for you guys to do. And I don't know if it's just the scouting's easy for me, right? I sit down, I scout. It takes a few hours for each player, but ultimately it's done. Making these damn PowerPoints, I don't know if it just feels long or if it actually takes that long, but these things are annoying. But let's just hop right into it. I'm just going to move this real fast. Okay, there's that. All right, so here we go. Let's hop into it right now. So here's my 2018, 2019, and 2020 track record. Again, I always do my track record so you guys know whether or not to believe me or not. And if you really don't like my past record, well, then that might keep you guys away from listening to what I have to say. Again, I do got some biases, and I'll tell you that right when we hop into it. So number one thing you see Courtland Sutton, Dk Metcalf, and CeeDee Lamb. What is identical about all three of these guys? In my opinion, they're all big receivers that can go up and get it, and they're decently fast, right? Now, Sutton's not the fastest guy, but I tend to like the guys that can go up and catch the 50-50 ball and make those acrobatic catches. Big guys that move fast. Yes, that's my bias. I'll be honest with you. And you'll see that in a lot of my rankings. So let's start back in 2018. Here was my rankings. Courtland Sutton 1, Calvin Ridley 2, DJ Chark 3, DJ Moore 4, Equanimeous St. Brown 5, and James Washington 6. Again, a few hits, a few misses. I was a huge fan of Equanimeous St. Brown. His brother's coming out in this one, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I do like Equanimeous better. I'll be the first one to say it right now. So if you're a big fan of Amon-Ra, then I'm sorry, but I'm not a huge fan of him. I'll just come out and say it right away. But this draft, I don't think I did a terrible job. Definitely James Washington should be higher than Equanimeous, but I did think that this kid with his size, with his speed, was going to be better than what he panned out to be. Never really panned out to be anything. In 2019, DK Metcalf was my number one guy. People were knocking because of his 3-cone. People were knocking because of his route running. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me about this, okay? I play football, I coach football currently, and I love the game, so I scout the game. And one thing that I've noticed during the years I scout is, and while playing, you can't really teach speed. You can't teach physicals. One thing that you can teach is a route tree, and a route tree is something that you learn throughout a career, right? You develop your route tree over time. So everyone was knocking DK Metcalf for not having a great route tree, although they forgot that you can't teach speed, just like how you can't really teach arm strength. You can get a little bit better arm strength, but you can't become Josh Allen in one day. You're never going to be able to become Josh Allen. I was another huge fan of Josh Allen. My wide receiver and running back track record is nothing like my quarterback track record. So if you haven't watched that video already, go ahead and watch it. But let me just hurry up and get through this so this video is not 3.5 hours long. So DK Metcalf, yes, he was my number 1. AJ Brown was my number 2. Marquise Brown was my number 3. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, was number 4. Debo Samuel, number 5. And N'Keal Harry, number 6. Now, again, Did I get some hits? Did I get some misses? Absolutely. Marquise Brown never really panned out. He was the number one guy taken in this draft, and I was not for that. But I do think Scary Terry might be better than Marquise Brown now, and I may have been wrong with that. So, yes, I've hit and I've missed on a few. And last but not least, 2020. Here's my 2020 rankings. I was a huge fan of Henry Ruggs for a very, very long time, but my final rankings was CeeDee Lamb 1, Henry Ruggs 2, Denzel Mims 3, Justin Jefferson 4, Jerry Judy 5, Laviska Shenault 6, and T. Higgins 7. This was my official personal analysis ranking. And that's what I personally thought it was at the end of the year. Now, look, when we look at this, we say, you know what? Yeah, you might be right with CeeDee, right? Henry Ruggs didn't look so hot, but again, I think you got to give him another year. Denzel Mims went to New York. Give him some time. I was a huge fan of Justin Jefferson. Huge fan of him. Jerry Judy was another guy. Everyone was saying he was a top 3 guy. I didn't feel like he was. Laviska Shenault, I feel like in the right system. Again, now he has Trevor Lawrence. We might be able to see Laviska Shenault shine a little bit. Again, one thing about wide receivers and running backs, and honestly, all positions for that matter, you got to go to a team that's going to use you properly, right? And I thought Laviska Shenault would have been a perfect fit for the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, but he ended up in Jacksonville. But again, now with Trevor Lawrence, he's just going to be all right, in my opinion, okay? And last but not least, T. Higgins. I'm a huge fan of T. Higgins, and he went with Cincinnati, and I think him and Joe Burrow are going to shine there. So here's my 2020 rankings. Yet to see how they play out, but we'll see what happens. Again, you're going to knock me for Denzel Mims. Listen, Denzel Mims, I think, is a great prospect. Again, these are prospects. I don't know about how their career is going to pan out because where you get drafted has a lot to do with that. So let's hop in to my grade scale. Here it is. This is what I grade people on this year. Last year, I didn't look at the release for some reason. This year, I added release to my grade scale. I think that's a huge addition. Route running is another one. Catching traffic. Special catches / towing bounds. No, this isn't Madden, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking to see if they can pull a ball down. Can they make that tough catch? Can they keep their toes? Not one toe. I know college is only one. I want to see both toes. Get ready for the NFL. Speed. Are they fast? Do they have great size? Do they use their size? Agility. And do they fight? Again, fight is something I have on almost every single position. Do they fight for extra yards? Do they fight for the extra inch? Okay, that's something that I'm a huge fan of. And this is complete analysis after film study and pro day. So I'm completely done with receivers. These rankings will not change. Again, people that I did not scout, I can't rank. So if there's somebody else you want me to scout, you're more than welcome to let me know in the comment section below. All right, here we go. Let's hop right into it. You're going to see I'm not biased at all. Here's my grade scale. Again, these rankings are according to my grade scale. I'll give you my personal analysis at the end. But you might say, holy crap, holy shit, is this your last guy? No, this ain't my last guy. This is my first guy according to my grade scale. And his name is Jaylen Waddle. Let me tell you something. This guy is absolutely impressive. He uses his body to go up in high point footballs. He breaks tackles and fights for extra yards. This guy looks faster than people give him credit for. And maybe then his 40 time will show that. Guess what? His 40 time did show that. Look, I watched this guy multiple times. I said, is this just a fluke? Is it that I'm just in a good mood and I'm giving him a good grade? Listen, these grades, again, I grade all those things I showed you. And I watched film over and over again, and that's a completely unbiased scale. And at the very end, once I'm done scouting everybody, I punch in the grade, I hit enter, and it gives me a grade. And this guy got a 79. That means that he scored 79% of the 100 possible points, or 79% of the 100% of possible points, right? So 79% of the points possible. He did great. And here are his strengths and weaknesses. So let's go right to it. Number one thing is he uses his body to position himself in a great spot, right? The ball's not always thrown right to him. He puts his body in perfect position to get to the ball. He breaks tackles. Again, he's not scared to run through people, okay? So that's something I love about Jaylen Waddle. He fights for extra yards. Yeah. This is something this guy does. He's a bulldozer. He doesn't only break tackles, but he'll run somebody over to get that extra yard or two, unlike other receivers that run out of bounds or fall down on purpose. He plays fast, but not only does he play fast, this dude ran a 4.39. Again, when I scouted him, I said, this guy looks fast, and everyone's projecting him to run like 4.45, 4.5, 4.55. When I saw him, I said, this dude plays fast. And I found out he ran a 4.39. Yeah, this guy's incredible. He catches balls in traffic. That means over the middle of the field, inside of coverage, up and over people. It's crazy. He keeps toes in bounds on the sidelines. He high points the football. And honestly, his only weakness, that I'm going to be honest with you, was his agility. He's not the most agile guy in the world. But again, some of you might want to click off the video already and be like, holy crap, how did you do this? Again, this is not my personal analysis. I'll get to that in the end. But according to my grade scale, yeah, Jaylen Wallace, he ranks number 1, and here are my grades. Here they are. Again, you can break this down, hit pause, do whatever you want. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this unless I want to. But again, you see agility, I said, was his weakness. C+. Okay? Is that bad? Not really. I mean, it's not good, and that's why I said it was a weakness. But you look at everything else. I mean, this guy was phenomenal. His release was another one of his okay points. But, I mean, this guy catches balls in traffic. He uses a hand if he has to. He keeps his toes in bounds. He ran a 4.39, but he also looked fast in film. He uses his body to go up and get balls. And, yeah, he's a pretty decently sized receiver, and he absolutely fights and breaks tackles for it, and he gets those extra yards. Here's the next guy, Rashad Bateman. You're like, holy crap, where's Jamar Chase? Well, we'll get to him. But again, according to my grade scale, Jamar Chase ain't there yet. And again, I'm not influenced by the media. That's why these two guys are higher than Jamar Chase. That's why Jerry Judy fell to 5 or 6 last year. Because I don't get influenced by the media, and I do my own scouting. So thank you very much. Here we go. For Rashad Bateman, it was his size, his speed, his high pointing, his use of his body, and his great catching. This guy had it all. I am a huge fan of Bateman, okay? Like, he may be one of my favorite prospects in this draft. Now, right now, yeah, he's number 2 on my grade scale. I would like to see him work on his balance and not get tackled so easily, though. That's one thing I saw a lot, that he got tripped up a lot, got tackled very easily. It was kind of disappointing. I also want to see him work on his release. Doesn't have a great release off the ball. His route running needs to be improved for sure, but this guy attacks the football and has breakaway speed. Love what I saw. Look, again, a lot of people say, oh, Rashad Bateman, not that fast. He's not fast. Oh, no, Bateman's not fast at all. No, he's fast. And let me tell you something. This dude high points the football like the best of them, if not the best in the draft. I saw this guy. There was cornerback's hands were on the football, and he was able to use his strength to grab a hold of that thing and bring it in. Grab a hold of the thing and bring it in. He was honestly phenomenal. Okay, so his catch and traffic ability was phenomenal with defenders on him or going over the middle of the field. He was all right with taking those hits over the middle of the field. He was fine with that. He loves catching balls in traffic. He keeps his toes in bounds, and he has great speed. He ran a 4.39 40. And again, he was fast before I saw his 40. Sorry, I gotta take a sip of my coffee. All right, look, weaknesses. His release, like I said, he needs to work on his release. I don't know how he's going to fan in the NFL with that. I want to see him versus some better talent in the NFL, and he will get that opportunity. But again, release is something I would like to see him work on. His balance, again, gets stripped up way too easily. I want to see him break more tackles. Big guy, break some. Come on, Rashad. And last but not least, his route running. Again, not the greatest, but that's something that you can work on. If you're fast, you can catch balls in traffic, you can high point the football. Route running is one of my least of my worries. Release, you need to build on. Route running, something that you're going to be able to develop throughout time. Here you go again. Here's my in-depth breakdown. You're more than welcome to hit pause, look at it, do whatever you want. Here we go. Devonta Smith. Oh my, you got Devonta Smith, Nick, before Jamar Chase? Or are you insane? Yeah, that's right. I got Devonta Smith before Jamar Chase, and his grade's a 75. He earned 75% of the 100 possible points. So again, that's not 75 out of 100 possible points. It's 75% of the possible points. I think there was like 150 something points to earn. He earned 75% of those. Here's Devonta Smith, one of the most productive receivers in college football over the last 2 seasons. Runs good routes, but they're not phenomenal. Not the fastest either, but this guy will go up and get footballs that are contested. He has great vertical and can high point the football probably better than any receiver I have seen in a while. The only concern, though, is his weight, and we all know that, right? Look at the guy. Very small guy, right? It kind of concerns me how small he is. His legs are small. His arms are small. Kind of reminds me of Robbie Anderson, right? In weight-wise and just body type, right? That's what it kind of reminds me of. But let me tell you something. You want to talk about a guy that likes to get physical, go up and high point of football, uses vertical. At first I said Devonta Smith might be my bust, right? I said just looking at him, he concerns me. That weight concerns me. And as you can see, it's still a weakness of mine. But you look at his strengths, he has phenomenal. I mean, I wouldn't say phenomenal, but he has good route running. He's absolutely amazing at high point of the football because of his great vertical. He has good route running. Oh, I said good route running twice. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. Again, great vertical, and he keeps his toes in bounds. His weaknesses are his weight and that he doesn't really fight for extra yards. And again, that comes back to his weight. He's not capable of fighting for extra yards. So it's not something that he can't do. I mean, it's not something that he doesn't want to do. It's not a mind thing. It's that he really just can't do it. And again, all receivers are not going to check off all the boxes, right? Devonta Smith is more of that route running, sneaky kind of a guy that can get open and use his high pointing ability to beat you, right? And his sneaky speed. So yeah, Devonta Smith, I have him ranked as my third highest according to my grade skill, not my personal analysis. Here's his stats. I mean, his breakdown. You're more than welcome to hit balls. Do whatever you want with it. Here is Jamar Chase. Now, you guys are probably like, oh my goodness gracious. How did he fall down here? Well, here we go. Jamar Chase. He has a great release off the snap, uses his body to get in front of the cornerbacks and to make his way back to the ball. Positions himself greatly to high point the ball, has great speed, and is willing to go up and catch the ball. Not the greatest route runner, does not make a lot of people miss in open space, but he is a good receiver. Okay, what that bunch of that, Nick, clarify what you mean. Again, he has a great release, and that's a strength. So I gave him a great grade for his release. He uses his body to position himself perfectly, right? So that means that a quarterback throws a ball up in the air, he's able to work his way back to the football and get his body in perfect position so the ball doesn't get picked off. Again, a quarterback's friend, okay? Joe Burrow was the guy throwing him the football. Joe Burrow put the ball in really good positions. This guy had 1,700 yards that one season. Jamar Chase did look good. He ran a 4.38. He's a big guy that ran a 4.38. I absolutely love that. Usually this guy would probably be the top of my board, but when I look at someone like Jaylen Waddle, that's just, I feel like he's doing the same stuff, but with a worser quarterback, and I see him breaking tackles and fighting for extra yards and making those spectacular catches, and the ball's not always in the perfect spot. Yeah, I'm going to lean a little bit towards, at least in my grade scale, towards Jaylen Wallace. Jamar Chase gets all the media attention. Big guy to market around. Everyone talks about him, right? The media's been talking about this guy for multiple years. But I promise you, I was a big fan of Josh Allen. I was a big fan of Denzel Mims. I was a big fan of Justin Jefferson. I was a big fan of, I'm trying to think of a few running backs that I was a fan of over the years. Not really that I can think of off the top of my head. The running backs are one position that I'm really never really get too many sleepers. This year I got a few that I think that are sneak up the list. But wide receiver, at least over the years, again, I was a big fan of Denzel. I was a big fan of Jamar Chase. Of Justin Jefferson. So look, I've had a few sleepers, and I feel like Jaylen Wallace and Rashad Bateman Rashad Bateman, not so much of a sleeper. I mean, he's been up there on a lot of analyst rankings, but Jaylen Wallace, you don't hear much of at all. And I'm telling you, that guy's special. But back to Jamar Chase. He needs to fit his route running. He's not the most agile guy in the world. He doesn't really fight for extra yards, and his special catching ability / his toes in bounds, not the greatest. Again, I see other people doing this, and I just don't see him doing it on film. Now, again, there wasn't a lot of film to watch with Jamar Chase. A lot of people were hyped up over one season. When I watched film, I didn't see him doing a lot of this. So maybe it's just a lack of film and COVID screwed it up because he didn't play this year and all that nonsense. Look, I don't know. But what I saw on film, I liked what I saw on film better from Jaylen Wallace than I did with Jamar Chase. And knocked me for it, but we'll see at the end who's better. And I could be terribly wrong. Here's his breakdown. So again, show me what bone you have to pick with me. Here's his exact grade. Show me what you think deserves to be higher if I'm wrong. Here's the next guy. You're like, who the hell is he? And I didn't know who he was either. But you know what? Let me tell you something. When I turned on the film, I liked him. Emir Smith Merced. Gave him a 74. Here's my notes on him. Great versatility. Line up as a receiver in the backfield or even play the returner. Uses his body and his size to go up and catch footballs. I think he is very underrated. Look, Emir Smith Merced, I don't know how the hell he snuck up this high. It's crazy to me. But on my grade scale, yeah, he kind of checked all the boxes that I was looking for. Again, will he rank this high in my final analysis and my personal analysis at the end of this video? I'll be the first one to tell you, no, I don't know how he got this high on my grade scale. And a few of the guys that are slipping are going to be a lot higher in my personal analysis. These guys just really checked all the boxes that I was looking for in my grade scale. And it's a little bit biased towards big guys that are fast, that can go up and catch the football. But again, in film room, maybe not so much. Here's his strengths. He's very versatile. He can play a returner. He uses his body and his size to get back to the football. He can high point the football. He's pretty damn good at route running, one of the better route runners in this draft. He keeps his toes in bounds. The weakness of this guy is he doesn't really fight for extra yards, okay? And again, you'll see that with this, right? His fight for extra yards, I gave him a C. Everything else honestly looks pretty good. Again, this is what I mean. He checked almost every category. And when you take a really small receiver that doesn't use his body, that can't really fight for a lot of extra yards, and again, if they can't do both of those things, how can you really expect them to go up and make some acrobatic catches and catch balls in traffic or over people? It's hard to do it. So they might rank lower on the grade scale, but yet be higher in my personal analysis rankings. Here's the next guy, Marlon Williams. And again, listen, I'm going to read it right to you right now. Warning. This number may be high because of a few of his high scores, okay? So a few of his high scores are definitely going to make this guy ranked higher than a few other guys. So this could be a little bit of a outlier right here. Another guy, right? Him and Emir, but more Marlon Williams than Emir, okay? So this one's an outlier. This guy could be that guy that ranks high on my scale, but really, I don't really think it's that great. And I'm going to tell you, that's kind of what I think. This kid is tough to tackle. He's not the fastest, but he catches a ton of passes, has decent route running, and he is one of the toughest kids I have seen. Not a guy who goes up to catch many balls, but he finds gaps in the cells off of the run after catch. So once he gets the ball in his hands, this guy can break a lot of tackles. Again, he's tough to tackle. He's one of the toughest guys I've seen with breaking tackles. He fights for extra yards. He literally just finds the holes in the defense and exploits them, and he has pretty dang good route running. But he doesn't high point the football that good. He's not a high pointer. He does not use his body that much, and he ran a 4.63, so his speed is definitely it's something that we should definitely criticize here. And again, this is a really high ranking, and I don't think that he deserves to be this high, but somehow he did have a 73 ranking on my scale. Here's the stuff. See, and again, how could he necessarily be higher than some of these other guys? Well, let's see. Again, what don't you see here? You don't see any C's. And even if you're in school, guys, think about it, right? If you get a B minus, you make honor roll. You can get all B minuses and still make honor roll. But what happens if you're a student that gets all A pluses and 1 C? What happens? You don't make honor roll. Well, guess what happened? Marlon Williams made honor roll, but he really ain't. Is he honestly better than that one kid that gets all A pluses and 1 C plus and just misses it? Probably not. So his average, yeah, it might be better, right? He might be ranked higher on my grade scale. But again, at the end, ultimately, I don't think he's better. And things that are really making him look good are his fight, right? He fights for extra yards. That's something I'm not knocking from this kid. Again, you see him running through this defender. That's something this guy does in the film room. I liked what I saw. But is he one of the best receivers in the draft? I don't think so. So again, let's just keep going. And my personal analysis will be at the end of this video. Next guy, Diane Brown. Yeah, Noah, I actually like this kid. Okay. This kid can do a little bit of everything. Fast feet to get off to a quick release. Good at catching balls in traffic over the middle. Not so much of a 50-50 ball guy, though. So again, he's able to go over the middle of the field, catch a few balls right in traffic. But he's not a 50-50 ball guy, okay? So hopefully that clarifies that. He has made some special catches and is able to create space. Special player and a true receiver. Okay, so here's his strengths, right? Fast feet, quick release, catches balls over middle of the field, special catching ability. He can make those special catches, and he keeps his toes in bounds. Let me just do this real fast so I get the arrow away. There we go. Here's his weaknesses. He's not a high pointer, right? He's not a 50-50 ball guy, like I said. He doesn't really use his body that much, right, to position himself correctly. He doesn't have the greatest agility either, okay? He can move, right? He didn't go run in a straight line and run left and then run right, but he can't really make those quick agility jukes, right, to get from point A to point B very quickly. And he doesn't really fight for extra yards. But again, you can't really expect a lot of these smaller receivers to fight for extra yards and plow people over, right? You can't expect all these guys to check all the list. All the boxes off the list. So here's his breakdown. Again, you're more than welcome to pause, look at it, tell me where you disagree. Simi Feyhilko. All right, this is a guy that I watched his pro day on TV. I've liked him for a while now. I've saw him around college a little bit, and I liked him. He popped up on nobody's list. I like big guys. Remember, I told you I'm a big fan of big guys that run fast. What is that? Big guys that run fast. And Simi Feyhilko is exactly that. And he earned a 72 on my grade scale. And let's see what I got to say about him. The potential is there. Big guy, fast guy, a guy who fights for extra yards. Trips over his own feet a lot, not the most agile, but all the pieces are there to be great. Production in college, not so much, but I think we just see a lot in the NFL. Again, this is a guy that wasn't too productive in college, but we've seen a lot of guys that aren't productive in college turn out to be great players in the NFL. This is a guy that he has everything that you can ask for. He's a big guy that runs fast. He can catch the football, right? He does a lot. There's a few weaknesses, but let's get to his strengths. Again, 6'4", 230 that can run a 4.39. Yeah, I'm looking at him. If you can get this guy in the third, fourth round, he might be special. Okay, this is where that guy's probably going to go. So why not take a bid on him? I would. I absolutely would. This guy could turn out to be one of the better receivers in the draft. He fights for extra yards. Okay, he's not willing to go down. He's going to fight for those extra yards. He uses his body. He positions himself greatly. He makes catches in traffic. He's not scared to catch the ball over the middle of the field or around the linebackers that are about to hit you. He keeps his toes in bounds, and he has a special catch ability. Again, this guy can go over one hand and catch it over somebody. That's special. And you might say, oh, well, why is that even a grade? Oh, you like Odell's. No, I don't. What I'm saying is, if there's a defender tugging on your jersey or that has a hold of your hand and the referee doesn't see it and it's to win the game, this guy might be able to go up, a big monster that's 6'4", 230, runs a 4.39, might be able to go up while his arm is being yanked down and go up with one hand and grab it. That's what this guy might be able to do. He can keep his toes in bounds. I like that. These are all traits you want to see. Now, his weaknesses, college production, that's something I really don't look at, to be honest with you. But I list it because that's what analysts look at. And I'm not an analyst. I'm a scout. There's a difference. I'm not one of these guys on TVs that hear one person say it and start preaching it everywhere. People don't like people. Fans don't like people because they don't put up good stats. Terrible. When you watch film and they're impressive, that's what you should be doing. Watch this guy's film. You'll be decently impressed. This guy is more potential-based. Kind of reminds me of a Trey Lance. All the tangibles are there. Now a team just needs to make him be the guy. Okay? So, again, a lot of potential, but we'll have to wait and see what he ultimately can do. Again, another issue is trips over his own feet, lack of balance, right? Both of those goes hand for hand. And his agility is not really there, right? He's not one of the most agile guys in the world. Here's the stuff. You're more than welcome to look at it, to pause, do whatever. Here's the next guy, Nico Collins, another big guy, another real big guy. I like him too. Here we go. Nico Collins, really large frame guy, another 50-50 ball guy that had an impressive 40 from what I heard. I believe he ran a 4.42, and I believe that is accurate. Uses his size to his advantage, just has to work on his routes. Did not see him enough. Did not see a lot of him after the catch. So again, like I said, uses his size. He's a 50-50 ball player. He ran a decent 40. He's a big, strong guy. But I didn't see a lot of him after the catch. So let's go back here. Large frame, okay? 50-50 ball guy that can go up and get it with the high pointing ability. He has pretty damn good speed for his size. And again, uses his size. So all that kind of is the same, right? Large frame, uses size, 50-50 ball guy, high pointer, good speed. His weaknesses are his special catching ability. This is not a guy that's going to go up one-handed or while being held and catch one or keep his toes in bounds. Don't see a lot of that. Doesn't have great agility either. Doesn't have phenomenal route running and doesn't really fight for extra yards. Again, I said I didn't really get to see a lot of him running after the catch. I want to see more of that. And that's something that was just not apparent in his film. Here's his stuff. You're more than welcome to hit balls and look at it. Here we go, Sage Sorret. Big framed receiver, one of the better 50-50 ball deep threats in the draft. He is great at using his body to his advantage. The make or break it for this kid is going to be developing more routes besides his streak, being able to create more separation besides his release, and his 40 times, right? So those are his three things. Developing more routes, being able to create more separation after on his release, and his 40, which was not good, and we'll go over that in a second. The speed is in question, does not look slow on film, but he is expected to run a 4.6. Well, guess what? He ran a 4.66. Have to wait for the speed. Everything else is there for this kid. Plays very physical. I like him. Grade can change after 40 time. But guess what? His grade really didn't change. He looked fast because he's one of those guys that reminds me of Mike Evans, a deep, big, slower, deep threat guy. And that's exactly what he did, right? He's a big guy. He's a great high pointer, one of the best high pointer physical guys in the draft. Reminds me of really a Mike Evans, okay? He's a deep threat. He's a big guy that can high point the ball. That's a deep threat. He uses his body, and he relies on his catching, which is a strength. And I'll go over that in a second. His weaknesses are his speed. Not the fastest guy, not going to turn on the jets, but somehow he is a deep threat. So he's one of those guys that uses his physicality and a decent release, okay? A decent release. Not a great release, but a decent one to get open. He doesn't have great agility, doesn't have great route running, and a weakness is relies on his catching. So how can it be a strength and a weakness? Well, how can it be a strength? Look at Larry Fitzgerald. All these years, what did he do great? He was a catcher. He wasn't he wasn't the fastest towards the end of his end of his career, right? But you look at these guys like Tyreek Hill and DK Metcalf, these guys rely on their speed. And once they slow down because of old age, they got nothing left. You go to Sage Sorret, he relies on his catching. So when he gets older and he gets slower, his catching will always be there. His speed won't always be there. He doesn't rely on his speed. He relies on his catching. So the weakness about this is, what's the weakness relying on your catching? Well, you don't really have anything else, okay? He relies so much on his catching, he doesn't really care about his route running. He doesn't really care about his agility. He doesn't really care about his release. He doesn't really care about his speed. But if he develops all of those things, this guy might be one of the most versatile guys. Be able to do a little bit of everything. Right now, all he can really do is be a big, high-pointing guy that's a deep threat because he relies on his catching ability. Here's his grading. You're more than welcome to take a look at that if you want to. And let's go to the next one. Dwayne Estridge, he got a 70, okay? This kid is fast and makes some pretty good catches. He has good release and blocks well, too. He is not a selfish player to be a big playmaker. What do I mean by this? Well, Dwayne Estridge is really fast, as you can see here. We're in a 4.38. He has a really good release. He has that special catching ability, okay? He's able to get his toes in bounds. He blocks really well, and he's not selfish. He's a team player. If a wide receiver is as small as Dwayne Estridge is blocking well, and he's not selfish, and he's a team player, that's special. That's special, man. I love seeing that. This guy's 5'9", 190, and that's a weakness. But he's not selfish. He's willing to throw his body on the line and to block that extra yard. Block that extra guy, to open up that lane for the other guy, not always himself. Okay, and this guy fights for extra. He does not necessarily fight for extra yards, but again, that kind of correlates with his size. Only 5'9", 190. It's tough to fight for extra yards. Here's the stuff you're more than welcome to hit pause. Take a look at it. And here's to Maureen Terry. Now, this guy was interesting. When I first turned on the film of this guy, I was, holy crap, he's a big guy. He can run fast, but he doesn't do something that I like. So he kind of fell down my personal ranking board, but he's still decently high on this one. To Maureen Terry. Big, fast receiver, but not a 50-50 ball guy. What? Yeah, he's 6'4", 210, but he doesn't go up and get balls. That's a little weird. Little strange, I said. He's a little strange that he can't do that, but yeah, he's shifty. So wait, what? He's a big guy that's not a 50-50 ball guy, but he's shifty? This guy defies the typical big receiver stereotype, basically. Okay? Usually a big guy is not agile but can go up and catch balls. No, this guy's the complete opposite. He's that big guy that can run fast, that can't go up and get the 50-50 balls, but yeah, he's agile and he can run routes. What? That's just weird. He beats the defender deep by speed and route running. So again, that's interesting. This guy's interesting. He defies all the typical big receivers. He's 6'4", 210, runs a 4.44, which is pretty dang good for his size. Well, was really good for his size, I should say. He's shifty, Okay. He's extremely agile, which goes, side by side. They're both very similar, right? So he's shifty, he's agile. He's a good route runner, which you don't really usually see at 6'4", 210. He's decent at catching in traffic. Now, by this I mean catching balls in the middle of the field, catching balls with people around him. Okay, going over the middle of the field, maybe a red zone threat, but not a 50-50 ball guy, not a guy that can go and catch a fade all the time. Okay, and he's a deep threat. He uses his speed and his size to be that deep threat, and his route running ability, which is strange. His weaknesses are his special catching ability. Again, not that guy that's going to go out one-handed, catch a ball over a guy, spectacular, keep his toes in bounds, all that stuff. He's not really a high pointer, which is kind of weird in my opinion. For 6'4", you would usually expect that. Maybe that's something that he can learn. And fighting for extra yards. Again, learning to catch a ball over somebody, very hard to do it in the NFL, but he doesn't really fight for extra yards either. So this is a big guy that's not really that powerful big guy that you usually think of, but he's a big guy that can be shifty. So he kind of defies the normal big man mentality, the big guy that can run through people and catch balls over guys. Here's his breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at it. And again, you see his fight's only a B-, but yet the big man's agility is a B. Right? His route running is a B+. That's one of the better route runnings in this entire draft. A- speed for the 6'4", 210 guy. I like that a lot. Cornell Powell. Here we go. Cornell Powell. And guys, we're getting through this slowly but surely, but we're getting through it. I got a few guys left, and then I'll get to my personal thing. But hang in there with me. Hang in there with me. I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Cornell Powell, a kid who can go up and get the 50-50 ball, has a good release. Main issue is not many yards after catch and limited speed. Again, this is a guy that can high point the football, catch balls in traffic. He has a decent release, right? And he fights for extra yards. His weaknesses are, again, that special catching ability. His speed, ran a 4.51. That's a little bit concerning in today's NFL. And his agility, okay? He's not one of the most agile guys in the world. That's just the fact of the matter. Here's his stuff. You're more than welcome to look at it. Again, his agility C. That's one of the worst I've seen so far. His catch and traffic's pretty good, though. Okay, so you can go back and forth. His fight's pretty good, though. Okay, so again, is this your guy? Depends on what system you put him in. Seth Williams. You guys are probably like, where the hell is Jaylen Waddle? He's coming. But again, he doesn't check all the boxes like some of these guys do. And the issue with that is that he's not going to be graded high on the grading scale, although he will be graded a lot higher on my personal analysis. So just wait. I promise you, these guys are coming soon. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. Just give me some time. Okay, here we go. Seth Williams. Okay, here's his stuff. He's a big frame receiver that sells at 50-50 balls. He also is good at getting a nice release on cornerbacks as he uses his strength/swim move. A lack of route running truly concerns me. So there you go. Okay, his route running does kind of concern me. Not the fastest either. Needs to develop a route tree and get faster, or else he will only be a 50-50 ball guy. Seems like he has a little bit of an attitude as well, which is good. That shows that he has a little bit of a nasty streak. Okay, so he's a big guy that can high point the football. He can catch over traffic. He has no fear going over the middle of the field and fielding balls. He has a nice release, uses the swim move, uses a nice release, swim move, and a strength move to get off of the cornerback. And he has a little bit of a nasty streak, which is something I do really like in a wide receiver. Reminds me of a little bit of a Michael Crabtree in that sense, with a keep the lead, running his mouth. But yet, though, he does kind of prove it. Okay? He kind of proves himself. So I know it's annoying a little bit, but you know what? If you can improve it, if you can go in and catch that ball over a guy, you know what? Go ahead, show it. And he has that nasty streak, which I ultimately like. Weaknesses. His route running, not a great route runner. He's not really the fastest guy in the world. He doesn't really have that special catching ability. And again, his route running, I listed that twice for some reason, so I'm sorry, okay? So his weaknesses are route running, speed, and special catching ability. Look, what is this guy then? A 50-50 ball guy, like I said earlier. Needs to develop his route running, needs to get a little bit faster if he can, and we'll see what happens. But again, doesn't really possess a lot of those things besides a really good physical guy that is tough, will fight for some extra yards and all that. Here's his stuff. Decent release, like I said, good catching in traffic, decent speed, but B+ is not that great. I mean, again, you want to be in the A-, like the threshold for me. Once you get into the B's, it kind of gets shaky. So he's really not the fastest, but B+ is not bad for his size. He uses his body, he uses his size, but everything else is kind of Jaylen Waddle, here he is. Here he is. He might grade low on this, but I promise he is not going to grade low on everything else. Here's Jaylen Waddle. This kid is electric, but there are some things that I cannot see on film because of it. He is super fast and very agile. I do not see him high point the ball often enough. Very rarely do I see him have to beat press, and he is so fast I don't see him break tackles. Speed is great. Route running is good enough. He is a speedster, but but many question marks. Okay, and what I mean by that is, if you're so fast and you just run by everybody, it's hard to really evaluate if he can break tackles and if he has great agility. I just see his agility, ladies and gentlemen, but it's still tough to compare his agility to someone that's a little bit slower that uses a juke move to break a tackle. A solid player for sure, but not many stats either over 3 seasons. So again, his injury history, I mean, kind of concerning, and his lack of film is definitely in there too. So look, this guy's electric. He's super fast. He's a playmaker, basically. He's extremely agile, right? And he has great route running. Now, again, he didn't run a 40 time. So he might not be the fastest guy in the draft. I know a lot of people say it, but there's some guys that ran really fast 40s that might just honestly be faster. This guy looked super fast on film. He might not be the fastest. Game film looks good though, so I give him that for sure. And again, his route running's not bad. I mean, everyone wants to say, "Oh, fast guys can't run routes." No, he's agile. He can run routes, and he's super fast. This guy could be special, and I think he will be. His weaknesses is his injury history, his lack of film. Okay, he doesn't have a lot of film to watch, so it's hard to rank him and to do this. Not a lot of film of him beating press. He usually lines up a lot in the slot and in the backfield. He's versatile like that. He breaks tackles. He doesn't really high point. I mean, he doesn't really break a lot of tackles again because of that speed. I've seen him use his agility, juke people out, but I want to see if someone lays a hand on him, if he's able to break out of that tackle. He does high point. He doesn't really high point the ball that well either. Again, a big fast guy. He doesn't usually use his speed and his route running ability. Does he really have to high point it? No, but I do like to see it. Something I look for, and does not use his size. Again, really small guy. I don't see him use his body a lot or work his way back to the football to attack it in the air. Here's the stuff you're more than welcome to hit balls. Again, C+ release, C size. So you guys are like, how did he fall? Well, that's how he fell, ladies and gentlemen. His fight's not great because he's a smaller guy. His size isn't great. He doesn't really use his body. He's a little bit smaller. And his release is a C+. I didn't really see a lot of it on the film. So why did he fall so low on the scale? Well, those are the 3 reasons why he fell low on the scale. Now, my personal analysis might say, well, his agility is so dang great. His speed's so dang great. His route running so dang great that he's better than all the people that I had listed above him on the scale. So again, wait till the end when I release those rankings. It will be there. Here we go. The next guy, Elijah Moore. Here's his notes. Explosive player who has good route running, a decent release, and is fast. He is a playmaker and can line up in the backfield or as a receiver, not a go up and get it guy, but can get open and lost deep. I like this kid a lot. Look, Elijah Moore was somebody special when I first watched him. He's explosive. He has good route running. He has really good speed. He's a playmaker. If you can get him the ball anyway, he's versatile, can line up in the backfield as a receiver, however you want to line him up, right? That's something that I like to see. He has a pretty dang good release, and he's a good deep threat, right? He can get lost deep. His weaknesses are like the same thing like any small guy. He doesn't really high point the ball. He doesn't really have that special catching ability. Waddle does kind of have that on him, I believe. Waddle can kind of go up and catch a ball over somebody a little bit better. Doesn't really necessarily high point at Waddle, but he can go up with one hand or get a really nice catch in traffic over somebody. Elijah Moore really doesn't do that at all. His size, again, doesn't really use his body much, and he doesn't really fight for extra yards. Again, it all comes down to his size. Here you go. Here's the stuff. And again, what's making these smaller, quickie, shiftier guys fall? Their size rating, their fight rating, and sometimes their release rating. And that's why they're falling low on my board. And that's why I told you in the beginning, my grade scale is a little bit biased towards big, physical, go up and get it receivers. Amari Rogers is the next guy. This kid seems to get separation on his routes. He can also break a few tackles, used to use as a returner as well. So this guy's very versatile, right? He's a good route runner, right? He can break tackles. He's used as a returner, but he's not the most talented receiver, but he's also not bad. He's somebody that, a team could probably draft in like the 3rd, 4th round maybe and probably get something out of, right? You can get something out of it, whether you use him as a return man or use him as a receiver. He's one of those guys that's a little bit versatile again, right? He can route run. He can break tackles, right? You see him right here, breaking a tackle on Christian Fulton right here from LSU a year ago. He's a returner, right? That makes him versatile, makes his market go up a little bit in the NFL. He can catch in traffic pretty good. Again, this is something that's pretty interesting. And he has that special catching ability, something that we haven't seen from the last few guys that we just saw. His weaknesses, his speed. Not the fastest guy in the world, okay? He's not the fastest guy in the world. But he's not bad. I think he runs a 4.5 something. His agility, not the best. Okay, he's not going to be able to dance people out of their shoes, but he can break tackles. So although his agility might not be there, if he's still willing to break tackles, I mean, does agility really matter? And he doesn't use his body a lot. Doesn't use his body to get back to the ball, position himself well, all those things, the little things that you want to see in a receiver. Here's the stuff. You're more than welcome to take a look at it. Here's Daz Newsome. Good possession receiver, a bit undersized, but uses his body to get to the ball. Very agile with decent route running. Look, he's very agile, okay? That's something that I want to point out right away. He's a possession receiver that's very agile. He doesn't really use a lot of route running. He's not fast, okay? But he will use his body. He will find an opening and be a possession guy for him, for their quarterback. He's one of their quarterback's best friends, and he's very agile. He doesn't really fight for extra yards. He's not a route runner, and he ran a 4.59. He's not the fastest guy. He's actually kind of slow. So what does that mean? Possession guy that quarterback can check down to on drag routes, maybe slant routes, something nice and fast. And this guy might be able to be very agile and use his agility to get a few extra yards. Here's his stuff. Again, his agility is an A-. That's what brings him up a little bit. Clarius Tony. Now, this is a guy I really like, okay? And he's going to rank really high on my personal analysis. He is someone who can get open and create space with his route running and release. He is fast and has great agility. Not someone who's going to go up and get it, but he will break tackles and fight for extra yards. So, again, this is somebody that can do a little bit of everything, okay? He's a good route runner with a pretty dang good release. He's pretty dang fast. He has good agility. Okay, so if you're a good route runner, if you have a good release to get off the ball, and then you use your route running ability with your speed, and then you catch the ball, and then you put on your agility to break a tackle, and then that ultimately allows you to fight for extra yards when you're about to get tackled. This guy has everything that you need to be an amazing receiver, right? So all I'm saying is get this guy the ball. He will be open. Don't use him towards his weakness, which is high point in the football and trying to make him do those one-handers to get his toes in bounds. And he doesn't really use his body to position himself. So let him use his route running ability and his release to get open. Let him use his speed. And once he gets the ball in his hands, let him go to work. He can use his agility, his breaking tackle ability, and his fighting for extra yards ability to make a 15-yard gain, a 50-yard gain. That's something that Kadarius Toney can do. And here's his stuff. So you're more than welcome to hit pause and look at it again. Good speed. You see these things, right? These things right here, lowering him down. Now again, should these things single-handedly drop somebody? Well, this is an unbiased grading chart. Okay, I'm not saying, well, I don't like Kadarius Toney, so I'm going to give him a C+ here. No, this is fair for everybody. I put everybody against the same chart, okay? And they grade accordingly. So this is an unbiased chart, but sometimes not being good in one or two areas can completely drop somebody's stock according to it. So I'll have my personal analysis at the end, which could be a little bit biased towards what I like, but we'll see what's more biased in the end. Here's the next guy, Tyler Vaughns. And look at this amazing catch that he's making. I mean, again, special catchy ability. You see it right here. He's pretty talented, this guy. Okay. This guy, I said, is never going to be a number one, but he does show some signs of flashes. He shows signs of clutchness at the end of games. 40 time was sort of embarrassing running a 4.62, which hurt his stock. He fights for extra yards. Again, so this is a guy that fights for extra yards, right? He's clutch at the end of the game. This might be a guy you go to. Maybe you throw a fade in the back of the end zone. He has the ability to do that, okay? In a sense, but he doesn't really use his body. Here you see the quarterback put it on this shoulder away from the defender, right? Here's the defender. Here's the ball. So that's letting the receiver, okay, use his special catching ability to go up and catch a ball, okay? He's not positioning his body. He's not working back this way, okay? I can't really draw, but imagine going back towards the referee to get the ball, okay? He's somewhat using his body here, right? He's going up. You see him putting his hand here, creating that separation to go up and get the ball with one hand. But he's not coming back to the ball and using his body. Okay, the quarterback kind of put in a position where he could get it or nobody could get it. And you see Vaughns has that ability to use his special catching ability to go up and get the ball. Again, good clutchness towards the end of games. I've seen a lot of that in his film. Has a decent release. He has that special catching ability, and he can keep his toes in bounds. The weaknesses are his speed. Not going to beat you with speed. He does not really use his body to get back to the ball, and he lacks agility. Here you go. Again, size, that means that he doesn't really use his body. Agility is a B-, but again, you don't really see anything fall much lower than a B-. Terrace Marshall Jr. This is somebody that I actually kind of like, okay? But he falls down here again because he doesn't really do anything super, super special. Big, fast receiver who can use his speed and size to his advantage. He uses his body to get in front of the ball if you give him a ball with a lane to run. Not many people catching up to him. Not the strongest player, gets tripped up a lot and does not break many tackles, does not see any special catches either. Good receiver, but I like someone like Bateman better, okay? So I think I scouted him right after I scouted Bateman. And one thing I saw about Marshall is that he's not able to really break tackles, okay? And he's a big guy that can go up and get it a little bit, right? Big guy, right? That can go up and get it a little bit, but he can't really, in a sense. I mean, he can do it a little tiny bit, but his special catching ability is not there, like someone like Bateman. So he's a big guy with good speed who uses his body to get back to the football, okay? And he is explosive with the ball in his hands. Like I said, you didn't give this guy the ball. If you get a few blockers out for him, he can explode. He's a big guy that can explode. But the issue is, again, his balance. He gets tripped up a lot. I think Bateman's another guy that I said that gets tripped up a lot, if I'm not mistaken, okay? And that's something that I want to see these guys get a little bit better with, okay, is work on their balance. Doesn't really break a lot of tackles either. Doesn't have that special catching ability, okay? So he relies on just his size and his speed. And he's a playmaker. So, I mean, again, if you give it to him in a screen, with a few blockers, he might be off to the races. He doesn't really fight for extra yards, and he doesn't really have a great release. Again, Bateman's someone that can fight for extra yards. He can't, so that's why he falls way down the board compared to someone like Bateman. Here's his ranking. Again, you see agility as a C+, his fight is a C+, but see, you see his speed's an A-. That's not bad for a guy like him, okay, who can catch in traffic as well a little bit. Now, again, he doesn't have that spectacular catch. He can't go up over somebody all the time, but he'll go over the middle of the field. He'll catch it with somebody on him, but he might not go up over somebody or keep both his feet in bounds. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Guys, we're at our final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. So we're almost there, and I promise you these are going to get faster. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a guy that's ranked high on a lot of analyst boards, not on mine so much. I like his brother a lot better, and I told you that in the beginning of the video. Not as good as a prospect of his brother. Smaller, not that fast, but is able to high point the football along with the better catching traffic receivers. Good player. I would not consider him top of the class, though. That I just wouldn't. Okay, his strengths are he can high point the football, he can catch in traffic, and he uses his body. His weaknesses, he doesn't really use that special catch ability, right? So he can high point it, but I don't see nothing special about it, right? He didn't go up with two hands, he had two hands on the football and bring it down. But I don't see a defender really tightly contesting it or anything special like that. He doesn't really keep both his toes in bounds either, and he doesn't have a great release. Here's his stuff. You're more than welcome to hit pause, do whatever you want. Tutu Atwell. I really like Tutu Atwell, and he is the fastest 40-time receiver in the draft with a 4.27. Had a 67. Again, just to reiterate what this means that he scored 66% of the possible points available to score, which is, again, it's not bad. It doesn't mean that he's a 66 overall. Okay, it just means that he scored 66% of the possible points available to earn. He's a true receiver, too. That's something I like, right? He's not really one of these fancy guys. He can be, but he's not. First thing I said is this kid is a receiver. I like it. He ain't too fancy. He's not really a gadget guy, although he could be. He is a slot receiver who has decent route running and super fast. Only concern is his weight. And again, that is a concern, right? So, again, he's a true receiver who runs really fast. He's a slot receiver with good route running and good agility. His weaknesses, not the biggest guy in the world. Look at him. He's very small, height and weight-wise. He doesn't really catch a lot of balls in traffic going over the middle of the field. It kind of concerns me too. I mean, if you're going to play slot, you're going to be over the middle of the field a lot. We'll see if he can develop that. He doesn't really have a special catching ability or fights for extra yards. Again, small guy, not going to really be expected to do those things. Here you go. Here's the thing. Speed, A+, right? Fastest guy, I believe, in the draft. Someone like Jaylen Waddle could be, but again, without that 40 time, we really don't know. Looked pretty fast on film. 2-2 looked fast on film. 2-2 showed that he is that fast by running a fast 40. Jaylen Waddle's fast on film. I wanted to see him do it at 40. I know he got hurt, so we weren't able to see it. Really good agility as well. So his speed and his agility is what really makes this guy pretty dang good. And his route running ability, for crying out loud. Rondale Moore. Warning. Okay, you're still through this far. Thank you for tuning in. The grade might look low, but this kid is an absolute stud. And I'm happy that you guys stay tuned for this. Because again, just because he got graded low does not mean that he's bad. I love his film. He can do it all. The issue is he's a small and does not have great route running. His speed makes up for some of his lack of route running in his release. One thing he does exceptionally well is find the open holes in the defense. Another great strength is his catching out of the backfield. Shifty in space, breaks tackles, squats over 600 pounds. He's nasty. Can be very good if in the right system. This is a guy right here that reminds me of a Laviska Shenault. Besides, I think that he might honestly be a little bit better. Maybe that has a little bit to do with recency bias, right? I like this guy because I just scouted him not too long ago. Look, really low grade, right? But that's why I said warning. Unlike the other guy that I said warning before, which I'm pretty sure was Marlon Williams, in a bad reason I said warning. I'm saying Rondale Moore is a warning in a good reason. I mean, this guy should be higher, okay? But again, my grade scale was not really too nice to him. Very fast, finds hole in defense. He's very versatile to line up in the backfield or as a receiver. Shifty in space, breaks tackles. I mean, this guy he fights for extra yards, man. He fights for extra yards. Weaknesses: he doesn't have a great release, doesn't have great route running, not the biggest guy in the world, doesn't really use his size, doesn't really have the special catching ability, nor the catching and traffic ability. So again, what is this guy? This is a guy that is going to be just really relying on his speed and getting the ball in his hands. If you give the ball in his hands, he's going to be special. The issue is again, people can get open without route running and without a good release, but you're not going to want to line them up wide, okay, and have somebody else play press on him because he might not be able to get off press. Now, once he gets off press, his speed might be able to get him by the guy. But if they line up somebody fast with him that can match his speed, he doesn't have great route running get away either. So that's where it gets concerning. Here's his stuff. You're more than welcome to look at it again. Really fast, right? Same thing with 2-2 Atwell. These guys are very fast guys, okay? And has great agility and phenomenal fight for his size. Jalen Darden. Look, this guy might be the most shiftiest player in college football. Very shifty. He reminds me of Rondale Moore and Jaylen Waddle. Those three are like very, very shifty. Final three, guys, if you guys are wondering. Very shifty, most shiftiest player I have seen in a long time. He has decent speed, but very good with the ball in his hands. Undersized for sure, which is a concern. Was not able to see much of his releases and route running on his film. His shiftiness can make him special, okay? Again, very shifty, great with the ball in his hands. Playmaker. His weaknesses, route running, right? Not a great route runner. Not one of the best release guys. Doesn't have great catching in traffic. Not a great special catching ability guy. Doesn't have great size nor uses size to an advantage. And doesn't really fight for extra yards. But again, that's because of his size. But what he will do is catch a ball, be so damn shifty, and then dart off to the races. The question is, can he do those things in the NFL level? Here's his grade. Again, you see his agility. That might be the highest agility I gave a guy. A+ for his agility, A- for his speed. Final two guys, Marquez Stevenson. Here you go. Uses speed to get by defenders, does not see much of anything else. He has decent route running and okay release, mostly speed, not too impressive. That's just his true strength is he uses speed. Weakness, cannot really catch in traffic. Special catching ability, doesn't have it. Does not use body, and does not really fight for extra yards. There you go. Release, B, B, C+, C. Nothing really good. The only thing you really see here is speed. And if you have multiple C's, yeah, that's no lower than your grade. Last but not least, Osiris Mitchell earned a 56th grade. Big guy, 6'5", 210. All I said was big guy, but not much to love here. That's all. So that shows you how much I like this guy. 6'5", 210, doesn't have any agility. Here's his stuff, okay? And if he turns out to be a stud, if either of those two guys turn out to be a stud, then I'll be biting my tongue. So, what is this screen showing you here? Well, nothing special, okay? This is showing you the exact order I just presented it to you. This is my wide receiver ranking scales. My wide receiver rankings according to the grading scale, okay? And as you can see, this is exactly the order it was. Wallace, Bateman, Smith, Chase, Emir, Smith, Merced, Williams, Brown, Feyhilko, Collins, Sorret, Estridge, Terry, Powell, Williams, Waddle, Moore, Rogers, Newsome, Tony, Vaughns, Marshall, St. Brown, Atwell, Moore, Darden, Stevenson, Mitchell. My upcoming personal rankings are going to be up very shortly. Here's a 2021 draft compared to 2020 rankings via grade using last year's scale. So according to my last year's scale, I put these guys this year up against that scale, and this is where it ranks them. And you're going to be a little bit shocked. According to last year's scale, just scale alone, not my personal analysis, this is how players ranked. Justin Jefferson was my top guy last year according to my scale. Hayes was my number 2 guy, and that's including this year's draft. Chenault was my number 3 guy. Antonio Gandy-Gold was number 4 guy. And CeeDee Lamb was my number 5 guy. Now, what's interesting about this is, right, when we look at this, one thing I've noticed is, was I just grading higher last year? Is that a possibility? And it looks like I could have. That's why these guys all rank higher than the very first 2021 guy. Or are they truly better according to last year's scale? I don't know. Again, these are all little things that I like to look at. I don't know. I could have some bias from last year to this year. What happens to me as a grader could change from one year to the next year. Number 6 would be Jaylen Waddle according to last year's scale. Number 7, Michael Pittman. Number 8, Rashad Bateman. Number 9, Denzel Mims. And number 10, Jerry Judy. So according to last year's scale, only 2 guys from this year would make the top 10. And that is Jaylen Wallace and Rashad Bateman. All right, so here we go. So this is a 2021 draft compared to the 2020 rankings via personal analysis. And what I mean by this is how I rank these guys compared to last year's draft personally, using my same 2020 rankings. So this is the exact order I have my 2020. This is how I grade them with my 2021 analysis. Jaylen Wallace would be my number 1 guy. He is my absolute, by far, best prospect. I'm telling you guys, the speed, the route running, the size, the catching traffic, the spectacular catching ability, all that combined, this guy is truly my number 1 prospect I have seen in the last 2 years, in my opinion. CeeDee Lamb would be 2. Rashad Bateman would be 3. Devonta Smith would be 4. Jamar Chase would be 5. Okay? Then Amari Rogers comes back at 6. Mims comes back at 7. Jefferson comes back at 8. Jerry Judy comes back at 9. Laviska at 10. T. Higgins at 11. Then goes literally what I would consider like tier 2 of guys for this year's draft. Diane Brown at 12, Jaylen Waddle at 13, Clarius Tony at 14, and Feyhilko at 15. This is my ranking compared to last year's draft. And last but not least, what you guys have been all waiting for, my 2021 personal wide receiver rankings. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you've been waiting for, and this is the hardest thing for me. Because again, all these guys, it changes depending on where they go, what teams they play for, do they fit the scheme or not, right? All that changes a ranking. So it's so hard for me to make this list. I showed you all their strengths and weaknesses. That's the best I can do. Putting them on this list is the toughest thing for me to do. It's so tough. But here it is. Jaylen Wallace would be 1. Devonta Smith would be 2. Rashad Bateman would be 3. Jamar Chase would be 4. Diane Brown would be 5. Jaylen Waddle would be 6. Rondale Moore would be 7. Kadarius Tony would be 8. Feyhilko would be 9. Elijah Moore would be 10. Tutu Atwell would be 11. Amir Smith Merced would be 12. Nico Collins would be 13. Tamarian Terry would be 14. Terrace Marshall would be 15. Sage Sorret would be 16. Dwayne Estridge would be 17. Cornell Powell would be 18. Seth Williams would be 19. Amari Rogers would be 20. Jalen Darden 21. Amon St. Brown 22. Daz Newman 23. Marlon Williams 24. Tyler Vaughns 25. Marquez Stevenson 26. And Osiris Mitchell 27. If you don't see him on this list, that means I did not scout them. I have no formal opinion. Could somebody that's not on this list be better than these guys? Absolutely. I didn't have the ability to scout them this year. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. I'm going to go now and answer a few questions that you guys may have for me right now. So, after doing that, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm absolutely exhausted. I mean, that's a lot. That's 27 guys. I'm going to wrap this up real fast so the video is not like 10 hours long. Those receivers, okay, are pretty dang good. Okay, all of them. And again, you guys are going to think I'm not saying Jaylen Waddle is number one, but again, the mixture between speed, his catching ability, his route running, his ability to break tackles, it just seems like it's better than everybody else. Devonta Smith is another really good guy, and I do think Devonta Smith is better than Jamar Chase because Jamar Chase is good. He has a bigger body, and that's something I usually like to look at. But Devonta Smith, man, and the way he high points the football and the way that he's able to go up there and get it and his route running is just phenomenal. And he's been able to do it for multiple years. And that's something that I look at too, a little bit. Not as much as other stuff, but when I watch film and I see this guy do it over and over and over again, and I watch Jamar Chase and I see him do it for 1 year, but he did it okay. I'm like, you know what? No, I do think that Devonta Smith is better. So again, I don't know why nobody's talking about Jaylen Waddle. I really, truly believe that he could be the sleeper of this draft. And whether or not, I mean, of course not, he's not going to be the number one guy off the board. I mean, that's just stupid to say. But would it shock me if this guy turns out to be the best guy? No. It didn't shock me last year when Justin Jefferson turned out to be one of the best guys. According to my analysis board, he was ranked the best guy. You just saw that in 2020. I personally didn't think he was. I think I had him graded at like 4, but according to that scale, he was. So maybe my scale's more accurate than I am, or maybe I am a little bit more accurate than my scale is. That's completely up for you guys to interpret. But that's what I do. I do my scale, I do me, and then I give it to you. And you guys can let me know what you guys think. And I put this on my track record because I'm very comfortable with saying these are my claims. And the reason why I put it on the internet and the reason why I put it on YouTube and on Instagram and all over the place is I'm highly confident in my ability, and I've been able to do it again and again at a high level, especially my quarterbacks. If you haven't watched my quarterbacks, go back and watch it. See you guys soon. Peace. Again, if you have any questions about the receivers, ask me in the comment section below. I'll answer all of them. But again, you guys didn't leave me with a lot of questions this time, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. We'll see you guys soon. Peace. We are built better, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.